Welcome to your daily 5-minute crypto brief with Satoshi and Nova. Today is July 29th, 2025. I am Nova.
I am Satoshi. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving straight into the crypto world. Our mission, borrowing from the idea of something like the Satoshi and Nova daily 5-minute briefing, is really to cut through the headlines. We want to pull out the key stuff, the important nuggets, and give you a shortcut to understanding what's actually happening right now. Market moves, policy stuff, the key developments. So let's unpack it. First up, the market snapshot. Looked like things cooled off a bit in the last day or so. Bitcoin's hovering around, $117,800, down about 1%. Ethereum's near 3,765, down maybe 2%. And yeah, even meme coins, Doge, Shiba Inu, they saw some bigger drops, like 5-7%. Looks like traders taking profits. What's your read on this little pause?
Yeah, it's interesting how tightly sentiment is tied to the bigger macro picture right now. Investors are definitely in a bit of a wait-and-see mode. There are really two main things looming, I think.
Right, the big factors. And first one, that's the Fed meeting, kicking off today, July 29th. Now, rates are expected to stay put, mostly, but everyone's watching Chair Powell. His comments, they could swing things. Dovish could boost crypto. Hawkish could add pressure. High stakes, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's always a nail-biter with the Fed. And, connecting that outwards, it's not just domestic policy. We actually saw some positive news yesterday, the 28th. The U.S. and EU, they struck that tariff deal on compromise, right? 15% tariff instead of the threatened 30%. That sort of calms things down globally, avoids a bigger trade spat, and that clarity, well, it tends to be good for risk assets like crypto.
Okay, so some relief on the trade front. But domestically, regulation is still a huge piece of the puzzle. And this is where it gets really interesting, especially for stablecoins. The Genius Act, landmark law, signed July 18th, basically sets up federal rules for dollar-pegged stablecoins, mandates that 1.1 backing with dollars or, other safe assets. Why is getting this kind of clarity such a big deal right now?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question because on the surface, regulation can sound like a negative, but the industry has actually welcomed this. It really boosts confidence. It's seen as a major step towards transparency, towards trust. And that could, finally encourage more big institutions to get involved. It brings stablecoins into the fold officially.
Okay. Shifting to the specific developments, the last 24 hours, huge news on the Ethereum ETF front. The U.S. listed spot ETFs, they saw record inflows last week, pulled in about $1.85 billion net. That's the second biggest weekly inflow ever for Ether. And it's the 16th straight day of inflows, actually outpacing the Bitcoin ETFs recently. What does that tell you?
It tells you a lot, actually. It's a massive signal. This surge, it just highlights that growing institutional appetite for Ethereum specifically. I mean, year-to-date inflows for Ether funds have already blown past the total for all of 2024. So the big players, they're clearly positioning for the long haul with Ethereum, maybe seeing it as, the next big institutional play after Bitcoin.
But then on the other side of that coin, regulation-wise, the SEC, they've delayed another Bitcoin ETF decision, the Truth Social one, pushed it way out to September 2025. Just a reminder, I guess, that these timelines are still pretty unpredictable.
Yeah, that's sort of regulatory reality. It's often slow-moving. And one last thing on corporate adoption. Metaplanet Inc., Japanese tech firm, publicly traded, they just announced another big Bitcoin buy, 780 BTC, worth around $92.5 million. That pushes their total holdings over $2 billion in Bitcoin. And get this, they're aiming to hold 1% of Bitcoin's total supply by 2027. That's more than just adding it to the balance sheet. That's a really strong conviction move. Signals Bitcoin as a core strategic asset for them.
So bringing it all together, what does this mean for you listening in? The market seems to be catching its breath, digesting gains, and sentiment is really being driven by these big macro events and the ongoing regulatory story.
Right. And while you might see some short-term choppiness, maybe pullbacks, especially in the more speculative stuff like meme coins, that's not really surprising. But the underlying trends, institutions moving into Ether, corporations like Metaplanet making huge Bitcoin bets, plus clearer rules for stable coins that all suggest a stronger foundation is being built, more maturity maybe. When you look at all this, what really stands out to you about how this crypto landscape is changing?
Definitely food for thought. Always wise to keep a balanced view in such a fast-moving space. We'll keep diving deep for you, bringing you the important insights. Until next time.
Enjoyed the brief? Please like and subscribe. We deliver fresh market updates, macro signals, and crypto news daily in just 5 minutes. Live streams coming soon. Stay tuned.